Good morning, everybody. It's 8:30 and we have a quorum, and I am suddenly on a very, very tight timeline. I'm unaware of whether Councilmember Suffredin is going to be able to make it, but I think, presuming the city of Evanston that just appeared as Luke, I think we should get started.
Good morning.
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 Just because I'm going to be in and out of here really fast, just because a family thing came up this morning. I apologize. But let us begin by calling to order the July 14th meeting of the Referrals Committee. Councilmember Suffredin, Councilmember Ravel.
Here.
Mayor Biss is here with 2 members present. We have a quorum and are prepared to do our work. The first item on the agenda is public comment. Is there any member of the public seeking to give a comment this morning? Seeing none, we move to the next item on the agenda, which is approval of the minutes of our June 23rd meeting. Is there a motion in this regard?
I move approval of the June 23rd meeting minutes.
Second, so Councilmember Ravel moves approval of the June 23rd meeting minutes. Mayor Biss seconds. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, Councilmember Ravel.
Aye.
I vote aye, with 2 voting in favor and none voting against. The motion carries and the minutes are approved. This brings us to our main work for the day. So just 3 preliminary items. One I've already mentioned. I apologize. I'm going to have to cut this one short. 2 more. One is I want to float a proposal. I think that the scoring system that we have has been very, very useful in terms of prompting us to think about the right questions. I don't think the numbers that we come up with are particularly essential to the process. And so I was going to propose that we continue to ask ourselves and discuss the same questions, but don't go through a numerical scoring process, because generating and then ignoring the numbers seems like kind of a weird move.
Yeah, as I was trying to do the numbers for these items today, it did feel really weird.
Okay, well then we can communicate that to Councilmember Suffredin and also ultimately the Rules Committee and the community. But I think we're certainly not bound by any of this. No one ever voted to start doing it. I think we're free to stop at will. And then the last item I wanted to raise in looking at these referrals, and I promise this is not convenient because I gotta go. I think that what occurred at council on Monday evening and what's been occurring in the Human Services Committee relative to Councilmember Reed's law enforcement related referrals is kind of an indication that we didn't fully do our job with those referrals. I think that they wound up kind of making it to in some cases council without the necessary discussion having occurred in a way that didn't do Councilmember Reed or the issue any favors, and also didn't do the council or the community any favors. And so there's a big collection of new referrals from Councilmember Reed here that also I think it's fair to say, without exception, are kind of ambitious and broad and will require some kind of stakeholder and staff engagement. And I would like to propose that we ask Allison to check back in with the council member and really try to get these in a position where they'll be kind of ready to be successful before we act on them. Is that something that the 2 of you are comfortable with?
Yeah, I mean, there is one that I think could go sort of on our normal process. The one about, let me just see which one it is. It's the one about better incentivizing affordable housing, because the Housing and Community Development Committee is going to be doing, we're required to do by our ordinance to do a review and update of that inclusionary housing ordinance every 3 years roughly. So that's coming up soon anyway. So I think Councilmember Reed's his proposal would would kind of fit automatically into that review and update.
Got it, understood. So that's row 32 of the spreadsheet. Do you want to, in that case, act on that referral, given that if the committee is obligated by our code to begin that process soon, there is some time sensitivity to this one?
Well, it's probably, I asked Sarah Flax what her thought was about the timeline, and it's not like next month or the month after. I mean, it's sort of towards the end of 2022 or maybe early 2023. So it's not that super urgent.
Okay, well, so there's two things we could do. We could delay that one as well, or we could simply assign it to that committee with the encouragement that they take it up this year.
Yeah, I'd be comfortable referring it to Housing and Community Development.
Okay. Would you care to make a motion in that case?
Sure. I move that we forward that item about the inclusionary housing ordinance to the Housing and Community Development Committee and ask that they consider this recommendation, this proposal, when the committee is doing its review and update of the inclusionary housing ordinance.
I second. So Councilmember Revelle moves that we refer this item to the Housing Community Development Committee with the recommendation that they incorporate this discussion into the broader discussion about the inclusionary housing ordinance. Mayor Biss seconds. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, Councilmember Revelle.
Aye.
I vote aye. With 2 voting in favor and none voting against, the motion carries. And we're going to pause for a second so I can type it out here into the spreadsheet. Okay. Terrific. Thank you for flagging that. That brings us then to row 29 of the spreadsheet, which is music on outdoor commercial patios.
Right, and that item is, we're already working on that, and that's part of what's going to be added to the noise ordinance amendment proposal coming to council in August.
Got it. So does that make this very time sensitive then?
I mean, yeah, it's basically already in the works. Right.
Yeah. Okay. But that, so remind me that the noise ordinance is coming directly back to council, correct?
Right. Yes. Right. It's already been through
Human Services.
Human Services. Okay. For a couple of meetings, and then it's been at council, and then now it's been tabled. So yeah, it's getting close.
All right, but you'd like this one to go to P&D rather than Human Services? Is there a reason for
Well,
that?
no, I just would like it to be part of what's the council considers in August, at the August meeting, that this will be another part of the proposed amendment to the noise ordinance.
Well, maybe referring it to a committee doesn't make any sense at all then, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah,
No time
right.
for that.
Yeah. So yeah, so I would like to move that it go directly to council as part of its consideration of the proposed amendments to the noise ordinance.
Okay, so Councilmember Revelle moves that this item be referred to City Council to be incorporated into the discussion about the noise ordinance, which is coming back, I believe, at our August 8th meeting.
Yep.
Mayor Biss seconds. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, Councilmember Revelle.
Aye.
I vote aye, and the motion carries. And again, we're going to pause so I can write down the slightly more complicated motion than we often ask me to type. Great. This brings us to row 30 of the spreadsheet, which is a referral from the previous interim city manager regarding the zoning code. Just really quick background. This was actually going to appear on agenda, and I nixed it because I felt like this was a policy change that ought to go through the referrals process.
Okay.
But it is written up and ready to go. And honestly, I don't think it's
Right.
going to be too controversial when it
Right,
goes.
right.
Um,
So does it go to P and D first though,
yes, it goes to P&D
for
sure.
introduction? Mhm.
Yes, and
Okay.
and I don't think there's a
I mean,
lot standing in the way of it going there pretty fast.
right. I mean, I think all the work has been done. It's
Exactly.
ready to go. Right. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. So I move that we forward this item to P and D and ask that it be on their agenda. Is there time for it for this meeting, or is it the August meeting? I don't.
Let's just give them some flexibility. Let's say in July or August, and they can
Okay. Right.
resolve that as
Okay.
So Councilmember Ravel moves this item be forwarded to P&D with a recommendation that it be heard in July or August. Mayor Bis seconds. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, Councilmember Ravel.
Aye.
I vote aye, with 2 voting in favor, none voting against. The motion carries and the item is referred. And then this brings us to our final item, which is row 31 of the spreadsheet, which is a very specific zoning change requested by Councilmember Burns. I think to deal with what seems like a relatively specific situation in his ward.
Right.
This also struck me as, like, as I keep saying, specific, concrete, and pretty actionable.
Mhm.
And I presume somewhat time sensitive, because there's a situation with Soul and Smoke that they're seeking to resolve.
Mhm.
So I presume it's got to get referred to P&D, or would have to go to Land Use Commission first.
Yeah, that I don't know.
Do you know the answer to that, Luke?
Sorry, just messaging staff. Yeah, I talked just very briefly with Councilmember Reed about this yesterday, but I don't have the full context of this item.
I mean, it's too bad we don't know the answer to this, because I just don't want to.
Mhm.
I think the changes to the zoning code might require action from the Land Use Commission, but I'm not sure about that.
Yeah. Can we forward it? Boy, how do we word this?
Let me make a recommendation. Why don't we
Okay.
forward it to P&D, which can very easily send it back to Land Use Commission if they have to.
Right, sounds good. Okay, so I move that we forward this item to P&D and ask that they address it as soon as they're either in July or August.
Councilmember Ravel moves this item be referred to P&D with a recommendation that it be heard in July or August. Mayor Bis seconds. There any discussion? Seeing none, Councilmember Ravel.
Aye.
I vote aye, with 2 voting in favor, none voting against. The motion carries. The item is referred. And now, seeing nothing further to come before us, the field day meeting of the Referrals Committee stands adjourned. Thanks so much, everybody.
Okay,
Sorry
great.
for the rush.
Okay, yep,
Bye.
thanks.